Another video today from Everyday Tactical Vids. It's Tim as usual, and today we're looking at this item, which I'm calling my Tin Cup Survival Kit. And this whole system here is based on the 5 C's of Dave Canterbury from Wilderness Outfitters on YouTube and his Pathfinder school, and you probably know him better from Dual Survival if you watch their show on TV. I really like his philosophy of the 10 C's, and the 5 C's is the most basic portion of that kit. So what you see here, pretty much all these items other than this top item right here, which I'll explain in a minute, came to me from Combat Sports Supply. So if you like this setup, I'll talk about the prices, and you can pretty much get everything over at Combat Sports Supply. This kit, I thought, man, I'd like to have a survival kit that's super compact and hits the basics pretty easily, pretty quickly, and this item here does it. So I'm going to spread these items out on the table, we'll talk through them, and then like I said, if you're interested, head over to Combat Sports Supply and check them out. Here are my 5 items, and again, if you're familiar with those 5 C's, we've got container, covering, cordage, combustion, and cutting. Let me talk about the covering real quick. This is a 50-gallon drum liner. You can also use just a, as big a size as you can get, but of a garbage bag, a plastic garbage bag. This is a great item for covering, for your shelter, if you had to make it into a poncho, if you want to make a solar still. Now again, this didn't come to me from Combat Sports Supply. You can find these lots of different places, but let me take this out of the way, and then you can see the rest of the items here. Let me recenter my camera a little bit. And first thing I want to talk about is this tin cup. And I'll show you the dimensions really quickly because everything does fit in this. But let me grab my ruler and show you like this. Get up to the camera there. As you can see, it's about 5 inches across, and then top to bottom about 4, and then across here you're looking at about 3.5. So very compact item, and that allows you to store all the other items. We're going to go through each one of these individually and talk about their uses and how you might actually apply them in a wilderness survival situation now. As you can see, our first item here is our stainless steel tin cup. So that's the first thing I'll tell you, is that it is stainless steel, which is nice if you're in an outdoor situation. You can get this wet without having to worry about rust being all over the place. You can see also that it has these handles. Essentially, they fold in nicely and smooth along the back. Fold them together, and now you've got something. That actually makes a big difference. So if you're heating this over, a fire or putting it on a hot rock and you're taking it off, you don't have to worry about finding sticks or finding some way to grab the edge here. As long as you have some sort of general protection on your hand, it's a little bit easier and safer. While these can still get hot, they won't be nearly as hot as this portion, so you can take it away. They call that the butterfly style handle. It is 16 ounces, so think about that. You find a stream, you want to scoop up some water and then boil it. You got a good amount of water here. It's not like, a tiny cap full. So it's a pretty basic item, but it does the job. You can find it over at Combat Sports Supply for $9.95. So right there, let's say 10 bucks for this portion of your kit starting off. Next up is our cordage. As you can see, I have some royal blue paracord here. You can also see that this is 100 feet. You can also get this in 50 feet over at Combat Sports Supply. The 100 feet is going to run you $6.99. The 50 feet is going to run you $4.25. It does come in a variety of colors. Let me list them for you here. OD green, black, foliage green, coyote brown, white, royal blue, woodland camo, desert camo, safety orange, and red. And then the specs that they included this, it's 5 3/4 inch thick with a minimum tensile strength of 550 pounds. So great item for survival. There's lots of videos out there that talk about all the different uses of paracord, but traps, for fishing, you can certainly use the inner strands, as you can see there, for fishing line or for other things. If you had to take some of these smaller strands apart and do some sort of sewing or fixing a big gash that you had, lots of options when it comes to paracord. So this is the cordage option that I've chosen for this survival kit. Item number 3, you have a cutting tool, and what I chose here was actually, this is a knife from Smith & Wesson. It's their Extreme Ops folding knife. Now, for most people when it comes to survival, they're looking for a full tang knife, which means that it's not a folding knife and that the metal runs from the tip of the blade all the way down, well into the handle, usually all the way down to the end. 3/4 tang obviously means it's 3/4 of the way for you guys who might not be familiar. The reason I chose this, though, is because we're talking about compact. So as you can see, folds up nice and small, fits into my hand, and that means it'll fit into that tin cup quite nicely. It does open, with this thumb stud, you can swing it open. It does have a liner lock inside, and it's quite a nice knife for only $15, and Smith & Wesson makes good items. Now, as you probably know, there's lots of knives out there, lots of different quality. When you're paying $15 for a knife that is made in China, some people say, well, it's going to be junk. Quality control has continued to go up and up and up for a lot of companies who work with China, and Smith & Wesson is one of those companies. So I've been using this guy a little bit and been quite happy with it. I'll give you the long-term prognosis. But again, I'm looking for a small knife, not a huge one, that I can fit into this very compact tin cup survival kit. So here's my cutting option. You can see it's got a tanto point here, and then we have the straight edge, and then we have the serrated edge as well. Obviously, you want to be careful when you don't have a full-tang knife that's going into a sheath. You know, if you're doing anything, you want to be careful that you're not pressing so hard that the blade could fold back onto your hand. But here's your compact cutting tool for the sea of cutting in this survival kit. Last item in our kit here is our fire starter. That is our combustion item, and this is called a survival steel fire starter. It's made by a company called Milspec, who also makes the tin cup, and it's a pretty basic fire starter. There's a lot of ones out there similar to this, but you got your magnesium on the bottom, so scrape some of that off. Then you have your ferro rod on the top here, and you're going to strike that with the included striker to get your spark into the magnesium and to get your fire going. Quick note here on the fire starter. Some people like to use the back of their knife, so obviously not the blade, but the back of their knife. I tend to not want to do that if I've got a folding blade. I'm afraid sometimes if I hit it the right way, I might get the blade to pop and close, you know, on my hand. So I like to use the striker that comes with it. Sometimes it takes a little work to figure out the best angle for that. You can see I've taken off the paracord to do this. I'm going to tie a knot in that so I can take this striker on and off quite easily, but I do want to keep it attached to the actual fire starter. But as you can see here, you get a good angle and you'll get a good spark. And there's your fire starter. So there you have it, the tin cup survival kit. I want to let you know that other than the 50-gallon drum liner or, you know, a large plastic bag, as I mentioned earlier, the other 4 items, including the cup, so the cup, the fire starter, the knife, and the paracord, are going to run you $36.39. So a very, very reasonable price for those items, and then you can have your tin cup survival kit. All the links are below, so you can click on them and head over to Combat Sports Supply to check out those items, and they've got a lot of other great items as well. Please subscribe, like this video, and check back often. Take care.